Hey, Aubrey. Welcome to part two of our Linking Words series.
Yes, if you guys missed part one, scroll back. It was amazing. Formal linking words that you need on both writing and speaking for the IELTS exam. And today,
Yes.
part two, informal linking words.
Yes. Last time we shared a listener question asking for our listening words. Are linking words important? What are the best ones? And if you listen to our last episode, guys, you know that it's not as easy as a short list. You need a lot of linking words. Why do we need so many linking words on IELTS, Aubrey?
They each have a different meaning. I actually see students often just sort of throwing out a linking word, hoping it makes sense, and it doesn't always, right? There are linking words for time, for comparing and contrasting, for adding new ideas, for introducing examples.
Mhm.
And you can't just swap them around or it won't make sense.
Exactly, exactly. So, first of all, guys, a quick congratulations to Firuz, a 3 key student. She increased all of her scores, including writing by a whole band point and speaking by a whole band point. And you know why? Linking words. So, Firuz went from 5.5 to 6.5 in writing and a 6.5 to a 7.5 in speaking. All right. So, guys, we're telling you, this is one way today, linking words, one way that you also can increase your scores. Or you can get into our course, allearsenglish.com/KEYS. All right, so let's get into this. Aubrey, when do we use informal linking words on IELTS?
Yeah, so part one and part two of the speaking exam, you need informal linking words. A lot of the linking words we taught in the last episode would sound very strange when
Totally.
you're asked, like, what do you do on the weekend? Something very informal. If you say, as a matter of fact, something very formal, that sounds
Mhm.
out of place. And also, general task one letters that are very informal to a
Yeah.
friend, you also need these more informal linking phrases.
Exactly. And a lot of students forget that in the letters that no matter what letter it is, informal, formal, you need linking words, right? You need a lot of transition phrases. So
Yeah.
today's stuff is so necessary. So let's get to it. What are some more informal transition phrases when we are telling stories or talking about time, for example?
Yeah, this will happen, especially in part two. We definitely recommend you tell a story and you need those linking phrases to move the story along. I love the phrase before I knew it. So you're
Yes.
sharing something that happened and you say, before I knew it, the train was at our destination and stunning views surrounded us.
Oh, where did
Hmm,
you go?
I don't know. Maui sounds amazing. I don't know if they have trains there though. Europe.
Probably some short
Maybe.
trains,
I'm
maybe?
about to
There has
find
to be
out.
trains somewhere. All right. So we can also say all of the sudden instead of suddenly, or then out of nowhere is very similar to suddenly, right? But it's a surprise, then out of nowhere, um, this man shows up and gives me a gold watch.
Yes, love it. And this is where it's really tricky because you are going to be very comfortable with just then, next, after that, but these are low scoring. So if you can challenge yourself to use these more native, sort of slangy linking phrases to move the story along, this will boost both your vocabulary and fluency scores.
Totally, totally. So compare and contrast. Remember last time we talked about the formal ways to do this, like nonetheless, nevertheless, but some great informal phrases. We can say, in spite of all that craziness. So also great for stories, right? Instead of saying like however, right? Or even though it was difficult. So if you're describing like a problem or a crazy event that you went to and you'd be like, in spite of all that craziness, I ended up making a friend for life.
Yes, this is when it's going to be perfect. You've shared a story. There was some bonkers stuff that happened. You can share this at the end, and it's quite informal because you're using the word craziness.
Yeah, totally. So, of course, we also use words like though and actually when we're providing contrasts. But another great phrase is believe it or not. So, this is when you're going to say something that's a little bit surprising. And this could be at any point in the story, right? So this one's really useful for anytime you're sharing a surprising detail.
Yes, and we often combine these together. If we're like, I always go to this one Mexican restaurant down the street, though actually, believe it or not, a place just opened 3 miles away that is better than any place I've ever been, right? We sort of combine them that way.
That's awesome. I love it. It's so fun. All right. And then, you know what? Scratch that. When would we use that, Aubrey? I love
I
this
love this.
phrase.
I'm imagining if someone asks about your hobbies and you're like, "I go out all the time. I love going clubbing Saturday nights." And you're like, "You know what? Scratch that. That's not really true anymore. I like to stay home and read a book." That was true when I was younger, but not anymore.
I love this idea for sometimes students answer in a way they think the examiner wants to hear instead of being honest. And this would be a great phrase to be like, scratch that. I don't actually read a lot. Because what if the examiner's like, how often do you read books in English? And really the student does not like reading. And they're like, oh, but that's not going to be a good answer. So they're like,
All the
I read many
time.
books in English. Ugh, you know what? Scratch that. No, I don't. I honestly am terrible at reading.
Totally. Frankly, I never read in English. I know I should. Yeah, this is so great because if you answer what you think the examiner might want you to say, and then you're stuck and you can't come up with
Right.
details because you're not being really truthful, no problem. Use something like this. Be like, actually, scratch that. Let them know, right? The truth is this. That's very high scoring. It's so native to do that.
It's so good. All right. Now, if we're adding a new idea, like another reason, another example, another main idea, we can also use actually, right? Actually is very versatile.
Totally.
Besides or besides that. And then here's a long phrase that's great. In fact, you're not going to believe this, but
I love this one. I do this a lot, right? And you're sort of building interest in your answer, which the examiner is going to love. They've been
Mhm.
hearing speaking answers all day long.
Yeah.
And if you go to share something that is a little surprising, right?
Yeah.
Actually, you're not going to believe this, but, and then anything that's a little bit surprising is
Yeah.
perfect to follow that.
Love it. Easy to use. All right. So, example phrases, and then we're going to give you guys some sample speaking part one answers. So, examples, of course, you can use for example, for instance. I want you guys to start using the word like as an example phrase. So, not a filler. We use like as a filler all the time. Yes, I know. But we can also use it to carry meaning of an example. So, for instance, if the examiner says, who is your funniest friend? I'll be like, well, honestly, I have so many funny friends. All my friends are hilarious. Like my one friend, Aubrey, she actually did stand up comedy. So we could say, like my one friend so and so, or like this one time I did this, or like this one song, blah, blah, blah. So, like this one something, and that's how you introduce the example. It's so native.
Yes, here it means as an example, but in a very informal way.
Yeah.
So it's perfect for part one, where a lot of these more formal ways of introducing an example feel very strange for part one, and you need those more informal words.
All right, now we're going to challenge ourselves, Aubrey. Let's see if we can use some of these phrases in example answers. All right. Do you want to ask
You
me
want to go
first
first?
or okay.
Yes. I'll ask you first. Ready?
All right.
Do you like watching advertisements?
Oh my gosh, no. I get so annoyed with advertisements, seriously. Actually, I guess I don't mind all of them, like this one advertisement that I just saw yesterday and it's making fun of influencers, but I think it's for insurance somehow and I found it to be hilarious. So, I guess yeah, I don't mind them if as long as they're funny.
Nice, really good. So I love the switch there to say, actually, I guess, and then you're going to share that sometimes you don't mind them. And then to introduce the example, this very good informal, like this one, perfect, right? This works for an informal It's crazy. Yes. As we're doing this, I'm realizing how often this happens that a student is answering a part one question and just throws in really formal linking phrases. So I'm
Yeah.
excited for you guys to now have all of these informal options. All right.
Yeah.
I'm ready for mine, Jessica.
All right. Will you buy something because of an advertisement?
Absolutely not. I try to really not be influenced by ads. Actually, scratch that. That's not true because just the other day, I saw an advertisement on TikTok and immediately bought something at TikTok Shop. So that's not true at all. In fact, you're not going to believe this, but now that I think about it, I spent over $100 the other day on eBay because I saw an advertisement for something. So, yes, I am influenced by advertisements.
Okay, was any of that true?
No,
Oh,
I just
okay,
made all
good,
that
good,
up.
good. Okay, but you guys got awesome examples of
All very possible.
the phrases with, you know what, scratch that. In fact, you're not going to believe this, but such good examples. I love it. I love it. I love it. So, guys, the takeaway today for this two-part series, yes, you need a lot of linking words. You need a variety of linking words, and you also have to practice using them in writing and speaking before you're going to be ready to use these spontaneously on test day.
Absolutely. These don't come up as much in day to day conversation. We don't always add linking phrases when we're chatting.
Mhm.
So, this is something you will have to proactively practice.
Yep.
Answer speaking questions aloud and use these linking phrases and think about what they mean so that you're ready to use them in the correct context as well.
Exactly. Exactly. All right, guys. Thank you for joining us today, and we'll see you next week.
Awesome. See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.